business and big data and analytics. The rest was stuff you can get in the slides, but security, for those of you who mentioned it, was key. But the reality, like any of you who are in IT like I am, I already had someone talking about how we did convince our team. I had tight timelines. Everybody took so long to approve the business case, but they wanted us to go live quickly. Cost constraints. I had moved from an institution where I was operating a budget of 5 billion shillings in IT to now less than 200 million shillings. So really cost was an issue. And then small team, really found about, I'd come from managing 55 people in tech to 10. Skill gaps, certainly. They'd never really played in this space. Technology gaps, key things were missing in our data center and in our technology stack. Data center outages were common. Those of you in tech know sometimes it's not because of the IT equipment, it's the premises guys, the UPS is off, the ACs have gone bust. And then we need an agile delivery approach, because certainly from being customer focused means along the journey, you have to really be able to accept and integrate things that you did not start the journey with. And then last but not least, very high expectations. You've come from a tier 1 bank. We won't do for us what you did there. And so I looked at all of this, and the first thing I decided is we're going to run on cloud. So I was part of, when I was at CBA, deploying the first private cloud in Africa on Hyper-V. So I wanted to see where technology moved. So I discussed with Microsoft and CRA and another partner of ours called Group CIO, and they said, how about Azure? I said, just refresh me. How's Azure now? They said, Azure is actually really cool. And so I said, okay. I convinced the organization to move to Azure for development, then test, and then eventually we went live on Azure. So what are some of the benefits we get from being on Microsoft Azure? And when I talk about it, our entire digital financial services proposition sits on Microsoft Azure. When you open an account with HFWiz, over 200,000 virtual accounts opened in the last 3 months. It's opened on cloud. When you borrow a loan, it actually happens on cloud, and we do it in 7 seconds. So we operate a platform, I believe, like nobody else does, at least in our market, and it's all happening on Azure. So some of the key things, I don't have the Microsoft speak, because I'm the CIO, and I have to speak business. Geo-replication, key. So my regulator expects that I'm operating at least in 2 data centers. Microsoft moved me from the option of 2 to 50. And it happens without me even thinking about it. So someone said, I've been part of the push to get Microsoft Azure in Kenya. At least I'm seeing it getting close with Liquid Telecom, EADC, hopefully. But luckily there's something in South Africa. So when he was talking about Express Route, those are the discussions I hold with Safaricom, with Liquid Telecom, with Internet Solutions. So it's really ensuring you have a straight tunnel and you avoid all the hops of typical VPNs. The other key piece is availability zones. So we operate on every single deployment we do on cloud. We insist that it's on at least 2 availability zones, and it happens automatically, and I'll talk a bit about it, because our entire 26 servers that are operating our platform are all deployable using infrastructure as a service and as code. So here's sample code, it's JSON. This is our infrastructure. So when we need a server, we run code, and it deploys it exactly as the previous server or with whatever different specs we need. You can also go to a menu and click, the same way you would do when you are creating a new Windows machine. How much RAM do you want? What type of database? Deployment speed. We were able to deploy the first setup in 2 months in a configuration that typically would take 15 months. Now, when we are deploying a new service right now, the downtime we have, like we have a change tonight, it's no more than 4 minutes. So we are the most drastically changing mobile financial services solution actually in the country. Since go live, we deploy at least 4 or 5 changes a month based on what customers say. We don't have a change window of you have to wait for it. If there's a customer need, we'll deploy it the same day. At times we've done 5 changes in a day. Basically deploying something, we see it on a skill set, we don't like it, we revert back to the skill set. Sorry, I'm already talking code speak. So I like the skill sets because typically, and having run budgets of, even 1 billion, you just sign it off for hardware. All of a sudden I have nothing. So I said, we need to go live quickly, we need to deploy. Can I just get what we need? And as we make money, it grows. So that's the skill set. So essentially, we start off with what we want. I think it was about $1,000. Right now we're at about $8,000. So I use the capacity as the business grows. When the business doesn't have a lot of transactions, it shrinks, and I only pay for what I use. And what type of services? It's not just servers, it's storage, it's the AD capabilities, security capabilities. The diversity of platforms. Many of you might think that if you're running on Azure, you can only run Windows. But essentially, we run more Linux applications than Windows on our cloud. So whether you're going to be running Ubuntu or Red Hat, we have the entire mix, as well as databases like Cassandra, MySQL, of course, being very easy to deploy. So that's us and how we exist. I'm going to show you our code. It wouldn't be good for me to talk with IT people without an architecture diagram. So that's what we call the Whiz Cloud. The board calls it George's Cloud. Essentially, that's what it is. Our mobile app is the littlest piece. We have the controllers on the left side. Then the entire middle part, the various web application firewalls that we have. You'll see the load balancers there, the various servers. Then at the bottom, the network configurations that have been done to our core banking, into the various gateways and IPRS. So that's our architecture. I tried to remove all the IPs so that somebody can try and hack it. And then I like the dashboards too. As being a CIO, this is what I'd like to see. Essentially, coming and saying, well, what's using a lot? Is it the WAF, the web application firewall? How many hits are we getting? I had an interesting conversation with my business team today. I said, what were you guys doing last Tuesday and this Tuesday? They asked me why. I said, I saw our hits to the database were 147. They asked me what time. I told them. They said, oh, we ran a campaign and we got all that. You have those type of insights at your fingertips, and you're not asking your team to go and rub their head for so long, crunching out hours and pulling out stats. Samson, who's seated there, actually runs our Azure. He's quite a gentleman. So when we started off, Samson wasn't in the team. So go to working with partners. Now Samson's the one who is the administrator. He deploys changes, and it's as easy as, guys, we need to do this change. Did you guys test it? And we've had interesting things, and that's why I like the infrastructure as a cloud, where we deployed a change and things went crazy. What we do is very easy. You go just redeploy, ask the code to go back to the last best working image. In less than, again, 4 minutes, everything's back. I apologize to the business, and things are back up and running. So essentially, this is how exciting it is. Our lending piece, again, everything that we had to do had to be less than 7 seconds. It means from the time you put in you want this much money, we go to CRB, we're using AI, artificial intelligence, to make some of the decisions on lending, everything in 7 seconds. I can guarantee you achieving that in any data center that any of you have is near to impossible. And we don't make lending decisions before, then when you come, we make it right there and then. Because yesterday, you may have been good for 7,000, but today you're good for 30,000. So those are the type of things that we're running on that type of workload. Very soon we'll be deploying a big data platform also on it. And we've challenged our core banking vendor that we actually want to move our core banking to cloud. So I don't have any issues to do with, so what's up in our downtime? As I said, we've only had one issue. So Microsoft talked about 99.x%. We've only had one incident, and not our entire service went down. And we found it in something we had done in our code, in terms of we had not set one of the skill sets to have the second zone correctly. The moment we fixed that, we went back. So I said 24 servers. We've had a 400% growth in our customer base, 3 months. And our highest peak we've hit on our database is 140K hits. I'm looking to have that at 500,000 hits before year end with some new capabilities that we're deploying. So this is the conversation I was saying. So this is the last 1 week on our cloud. You notice that spike on November 14th. So those are the conversations we have with business directors. I'm like, what was going on? And they said, George, we were running a campaign. Well, I asked them, was my team aware about it? They said, yeah, we were aware about it. Like, okay, well, I was on leave. But I don't need to care about that. It scaled up, met the need, and came back to what we're doing. So some good monitoring. So what do we have in terms of what we've achieved? So we have the simplest and fastest account opening experience in the market. It's been really good to have colleagues from all the top 10 banks call me and say, George, how did you do this? And walk them through it. Again, 3 steps, get a loan, leveraging AI and the speeds we have out there. And really just looking at some of the screens we have. So the market feedback's been good. Been able to achieve, at times we were number 1 in the market, but at least since go live we've been top 10 on both iOS and Android. And when we wanted to do a USSD capability, because the market spoke to us, we were able to deploy an entirely new USSD platform, matching everything on our whiz within 6 weeks. That's from dev day 1 all the way to go live. Totally impossible any other way. So if you're still thinking that cloud is a nice to have, you're lost. Everybody's going to be leapfrogging you, and you're going to come back and ask, why didn't I do this in the first place? So special thank you to our partners, Microsoft, CRA, and Good Info. I hope that was a worth 10 minutes.
Wow.